Alright, solar YouTubers. I'm coming. This video is going to be. It's not going to be a good video. I'm. I'm really confused. I'm really lost right now. I'm to the point where I'm about ready to say, "F all this," and just sell everything or whatever, and just get rid of it, give it away, sell it, something. Because I do not understand, and you cannot go on YouTube because no one there tells you anything. They all tell you different stuff. They all say different things. You got these people who, majority, not majority, but a lot of them are, they get free product. And so they give a review. They say, well, this is my honest review, you know, BS. I call them out on that. Not every product they get is a good product. They may say negative one or two things about it, but in general, it's free. Whatever. Then you get those YouTubers like me who has to buy this stuff myself out of my own pocket, and I'm not understanding. I'm not understanding this. The issue I have, I cannot wrap my head around. Um, Sidestep. When I left this morning, my gauges were. I just reset those. They're not 100%. They're still charging. At 3, they're still charging. So I'm still putting watch in. It says 13.5. 13.5 is 100% charged. The controller says that the batteries are 13.8. It's putting out 13.8 at 6.9 amps. About 6.9 amps coming out. So that's accurate. So set 13.5. I reset and still charging. So when I left this morning, it was 68 percent. It was 68 amp hours. So I used 30. I said this morning 23, but I actually used 30, about 32, 33 amp hours over the night running that fridge. And I got home a while ago, about 3:30. I want to say 3:30, something like that. That was at 90. And this was at 88 or 89. So in that amount of time, as the fridge is still running and it's cutting off, so I got to unplug now. It's just powering. It's just all the energy is going to. I got to unplug. It's not even on. Let's plug back into the wall because the experiment will not work. 400 watt solar will not charge this up in a day. Will not do it. If you're trying to run the refrigerator and try and charge at the same time, it will not happen. The math says it will, but in reality it won't. For example, you got to find out how many watts your fridge uses, okay? That fridge uses around 90 watts an hour. How do I get that? I took where is it at? The watt meter, plugged the unit into the outlet, right? And I had this run for several days. And I don't remember how long I had. So I took the total time it ran, divided by the total wattage that it used, or total wattage that I divided that. It came out to about 90 watts an hour. Okay? If you take 90 watts and you times it by 12, you get that number. And I was like 416 or something. Something like that. I can't remember the math. I don't know the math right now. I don't remember. So, and you take that total number of the watts, and I did 12-hour period, and you divide it by the 400 because that's how much. So you divide that by 3 because that's how many sun hours. So basically, the math I understand is you have to take the total watts of the device that you're using. Okay, the refrigerator. It's very difficult because it's on and off, on and off. So it doesn't use the rating on it. If it's let's say it's 200 watts. That's what it draws. It doesn't use 200 watts consistently. It's on and off, on and off. So you have to figure out in an hour or 12 hours or whatever how many watts is it using. Let's say in 6 hours it does 1 kilowatt, 1,000 watts. So you take that and divide it, the 1,000 by 6, and you get your hourly average. So I did that, let it run for several days. I did the average. It came out to be about 90 watts an hour. So I took the 90 watts, times it by 24, and got that number. So I took 90 times 24. It's 2,106 watt hours in a day that's going to use. Okay, so I have, it's going to be 12.8. Oh, I didn't do that right. 12.8 times 200. That's what amp hours I have. So I have 2560. So I actually have enough storage to power that fridge for one day. Well, probably about what, 25, 26 hours, okay? So I use around 32 amp hours. So you take 32 and you times it by your voltage. That's 409 watt hours that I have used. Okay? So I use 409 watt hours to run my refrigerator overnight. So I should charge this, and it should be charging 3 hours because I'm producing about 400 watts. So you're looking at, maybe you don't get all of it. So you get at least 50% of it, 200. So this should be charged up in a couple hours, but it wasn't. It's still charging now. It's been charging all day. So I understand that when the fridge kicks on, you're no longer charging the batteries, you're running the fridge. Okay, so therefore, the solar, you're running just off of solar. And then when the fridge kicks off, you charge up the batteries. So it's that on and off cycle. Well, that should have been charged up in 3 hours. But it's not. And so the other math is you take your total battery capacity, you divide that by 3, because you take the lowest sun hours possible. So you need 720 watts to charge up your batteries. I only got 400. But I'm only using 409. So if you go by charging your batteries from 0 to 100, I need 720 watts. But I'm going from, on the amp hours, minus 32, 33 amp hours. I'm going from like 68 amp hours, 69 amp hours to 100 amp hours. If I only use 409 watts overnight, why isn't, I just don't understand why isn't the 400, or at least 200 watts not charging up all day? It's been charging all day long. True, the refrigerator runs and shuts off, I understand, but the math to me don't make sense. And then another thing that don't make sense to me is, if I want to clean this up and put a nice piece of plywood here, and maybe take those out of the box, write different ones, I have it on here. So to mount this like everybody else does, it doesn't make sense to me, because all the wires have to be the same length. Okay? So if I go from here to the fuse, okay, well, what's getting me is the batteries. Okay, so I'm gonna put the positive to a bus bar, positive to the bus bar, right? This inverter to bus bar, and the controller to the bus bar. Okay, but this positive to the bus bar, that positive to the bus bar has got to be the same length. Goes with the negative. So the question is, all of these, how you can't configure this any other way, because you're going to have one battery farther away from the bus bar. So therefore, I'm just hypothetical. Let's say that, I'm putting these batteries down there just like that. Okay, they go straight down there like that where the cat's at. That's Saturn. She's a movie hog. Can she get out? Her door's open. Yeah, her door's open. So, in order for this cable to run through there and back up onto the top of this, let's say it's going to be 4 feet long. Okay? Well, then that cable is going to have to be 4 foot long, but that cable can actually be 2 foot long to make that journey. But it has to be 4 foot long. And then this here has to be 4 foot long, same as that one has to be 4. So it makes no sense. Why do they all have to be the same length? Yes, someone talked about the voltage ripple. Does it really cause that much of an issue? Is it really that bad? Voltage ripple. Is it really going to, you're going to lose 90% of your voltage drop? I care less about the voltage drop. It means nothing to me. I'm getting the energy for free. I'm not paying a dime for it, except for the equipment. So if I lose a few volts here and there, whoopee-doo, it's not the end of the world. So I just do not understand that. So, and the other thing that really bothers me is I go onto the Reauto owner's manual, and it doesn't tell you what size these wires are. It doesn't tell you what gauge. I had to go on Google and type in, Reauto 2000 watt power inverter. What size of battery wires do we need? And I think it said a 2-aught wire. I think it said 2-aught. 2-knot or 2-aught. I don't know how you pronounce that. I don't remember. Wire. Well, okay, but that's 2 wires. So this came from Amazon today, and this is a 4-gauge wire, copper, and they really look almost the same gauge. And I could take some calipers and measure it, but this coating could be thicker than this coating. That looks pretty thick. So how do I know what size of wires these are? Okay, so if I design this system like this, because that needs to go to a bus bar and this needs to go to the bus bar, so this is going to have to sit clear here on the end like it is now. Okay, and this is going to have to go one of 2 ways. If I want the bus bar here, that wire is going to have to be bent clear up to that bus bar. This negative is going to have to be bent clear down into that bus bar, because I can't afford to cut these in half. I don't have the knowledge or technique to splice two wires together. I don't have that skill. So do I cut that down, or do I, that's the kit that came in. I came about that kit today too. This is about the 6th or 7th video I made of this. I delete my other videos because I just go on this rant. I'm really confused and don't know where to go from here, because the wires that I need run from the battery to the bus bar has to be all the same length. Okay, so if the bus bar is literally, get the bus bar out here. And of course, when I want the bus bar, can't get it. So, the bus bar's there, right? So this, let's say that's, 2 foot, that's going to be 2 foot, right? Well, this over here has to be 2 foot too, and 2 foot's not going to reach. So therefore, this is going to have to be 5 foot to reach that. And let's say that the negative is down here. So this is the situation that I've come across is they got to be the same size, the same length of wire, same length. But one battery is going to have longer cables. I mean, the cables are going to be, if it takes 5 foot to reach the bus bar from the farthest one away, the closest is going to also have to be 5 foot, and you got all that extra cable. It just makes no sense to me. And you watch YouTube videos, and everybody does it differently. No one does it the same. For me, this is fine. I'm okay with this. I'm not an OCD person. I really don't care if it looks like crap. It works. It's done. I got a fuse on the positive from the inverter. The other battery's got a fuse. It's fused. And, it just doesn't bother me. I like to clean it up, make it look nice and pretty. But it doesn't bother me one bit. How do I fix this to make it look nice? You know what I mean? So that 4-lug, that's the 4-lug kit right there. And then the actual wire I bought is this right here. It's the 4-gauge 5-foot wire. Because the issue I'm having, and it's another issue I'm having too, and I don't understand this either. From the inverter to a fuse, I got this fuse right here. It's a 200 amp fuse, okay? So this is going to be in line here, okay? And then from this goes to your switch, right? And then from the switch to the bus bar, okay? Question is, I don't know how long that is. Looks like it's 2 foot, 3 foot, whatever. It says 2 foot long. So does the wire from the fuse to the switch gotta be 2 foot, and from the switch to the bus bar gotta be 2 foot? Does it have to be 2 foot, or does the length only has to be the same on the batteries to whatever it goes? Because this and the negative is the same length, and this is a 6-gauge wire, So, that there is just, that's what's getting me. It's literally that. So, I'm really disappointed, confused. I'm ready just to say, you know what? None of this is worth the time. I'm 52 years old. I'm going to be dead before whatever. And then if the power ever does go out, man, it's so much easier just to power up the 2,000 watt, generator. I got plenty of gas. I got almost 10 gallons of gas sitting right down there. That's plus my vehicles. If I need gas, they're always full for the most part, at least half. So the question is, Blue Yeti is charging at 116. 18. So the question is, I'm just so frustrated because this works perfect. The wires are the same length. These wires are the same length. But if I tried to go and make this prettier and try to go into the proper bus system and the proper fuse system and doing everything proper, that's where it gets really, for me, difficult, and I just don't understand. I don't understand why the batteries are still charging. 13.5 is fully charged. And so right now we got, fix this a little bit, 1.2 amps coming in. That's about 5.55 amps short circuit up there. 71 volts come in. The total voltage up there is 90. 85 watts coming in. and it's saying 83 volts, 1.1 amp. That's about right. Okay. And then that's 15 kilowatt hours. 15.4 kilowatt. Okay, that's what 1500 watts. And my batteries are not charged yet. And right now it's charging the batteries at 13.8 at 6.7 amps. You know, so if you go 6.7 amps, and it's roughly, if you add those two together, you probably get 6.7, close to it. That's be 6.7. Yeah, I mean, you're close to 7 amps. What's that saying there? And but still charging. I fixed because I looked at the voltage. It's 100%, and this is saying that this is saying the battery voltage. That's what's charging. It says battery's 13.8 volts. That's probably what's charging at. They're saying that the battery's charged up, but still accepting charge. So nothing's hot. So is the BMS, when does it shut off? I mean, I'm just so confused right now. I'm really to the point of, and I'm not a stupid guy, you know, I work on my own vehicles. If I can't figure something out, I'll go to YouTube, watch a video or two, and I can figure it out from there. I just have to understand the basic, just a basic of the part, what I'm doing, and then from that point I can be fine. I'm just really confused. If I try to clean this up, it's a rat nest. If I try to clean this up, because the length of the wires is what is really getting me. Because none of these wires will fit from that shelf up around to the bus bar. You know, if I have the bus bar, but the batteries will fit. Oh my God! So the batteries will fit down there. Okay, that's just it's a 3-shelf thing. The batteries will fit right down on this shelf. Okay, and I can stick them back here against that wall. Okay, so if my fuse block is sitting there, okay, sitting there or sitting this way, it doesn't matter which way it sets. This way probably would be the best way to sit. No matter how I put these batteries down here, no matter what position I do, I'm going to have a positive and negative. That's going to be farther away from the bus bar. Okay, they're going to be farther away. So let's say that wire is 4 foot, 5 foot. Okay, well then the shorter distance is still going to have to be 4 or 5 foot. And that's what I don't understand. That's what just really pisses me off. You know, none of this makes sense to me. You know, why does these wires gotta be the same equal distance, same length, voltage ripple? Seriously, I'm not losing that much of a few volts here and there is not going to tear my system down. You know what I mean? I mean, I'm only using, whatever. So this is more of a rant video, more of a, I don't know, I can't do this video type of stuff. I don't know. That is on. Okay. See, that's just well, I can't see that. It's off. That's just 13.7. So, yeah, I just really, if I try to clean that up, I know it's I don't have OCD, and I really don't care if it looks like that. As long as it runs, that's all I care about. As long as the system works and runs, that's all I care about. And it's working, but I just don't understand the charge. I mean, I'm at It says 13.5. 13.5 is 100%, but still accepting energy. And the panels are producing, 82 watts. It's pure sun outside, so I mean this panel is not going to produce the full 400 watts because the charge controller is not taking all the 400. It's cutting it down. The best I got, yes, well, it's all in series up there now. I wired everything in series. I don't know. I'm just really confused on what to do. Everything's reading 13.4. I'm at 13.5. Even the voltage on this says it's 13.5. So, and that's 100%, but still taking it in. The BMS is not shutting it off. So I don't know. I mean, this is a whiny video. I'm whining right now because I don't understand why. I mean, the voltage ripple. I gotta really look that up and really dive into that. And to finish the video, I just want to apologize, but this is not fun for me anymore. It was fun, now it's not fun. I'm about ready to say, F it all, and get rid of everything except for the cooler. I'm gonna keep the Blue Eddy and keep the cooler. Simple fact. In case power does go out, and I got something to power. I got my 2,000 watt in there, so I don't care about anything else. I run my fridge off of that. But this is not fun no more. This is really getting to be a hassle. There's so much stuff here. I mean, like I said, each content creator tells you something different. Everybody has something that's a little bit different than the other person. Somebody knows something different than the other person. Yeah, sorry about that, guys, but this video sucks.